I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
Take my hat up.
I'm South Carolina, so I just...
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Moss?
Oh, my heart,
Happy 20th anniversary.
my heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? John.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's
The doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it for all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. When is it Wednesday? No, it's Thursday. Thursday, not Wednesday, Thursday. And we've got the one and only JD in the house. John Davis, how are you, sir?
I'll tell you what, Donnie, if I was doing any better, I would need a twin to share it with. Okay? It's amazing.
Where you from, John?
I am a native Baltimorean, born down at Bon Secure, Hillendale, Lochraven Village, and the rest.
Some people call it Bonds the Killer. John, if there's anyone who loves Baltimore more than I do, it is you. You are all Baltimore all day long. What high school did you go to, John?
Mount St. Joe. I'm a St. Joe boy.
What was y'all mascot? The Gales?
Gaels.
What in the heck is a Gale?
Picture a little feisty Irishman, kind of like Notre Dame's guy on the sideline.
Okay. Are you Irish?
Yes, I am, but I am also part German.
How many generations can you go back, John?
Well, Donnie, I'm in my office at home now. I would yell out down the hall to my wife, Valerie, who is the gerontologist, who loves to get into the genealogy stuff. I think she's gone back to the beginning of the 1800s.
Okay. My cousin can go back to about 1815 or so.
My wife loves that stuff.
That's a long time.
Apparently so.
A lot of stuff. John, can you tell me where we met? I was thinking the exact same thing.
Donnie, I think you came to a community meeting at the Salvation Army down on Light Street, where we had a ton of people to start talking about what we can do in Sandtown. I forget.
Yeah, no, but we met before that meeting. That was the meeting that the preachers were at.
Yeah, I remember.
No, we met before that.
Well, Donnie, I'm 71, and I guess maybe it's kicking in.
I think we met somewhere here in Sandtown.
I don't
So,
know.
John, you want to tell the people a funny Donnie Glover story? I give you permission.
Well, Donnie, there's quite a few. But I would say this isn't a funny story. But last Saturday, Donnie and I, we went down to the new Lexington Market. And we get out of the car. I can't go anywhere with Donnie where lots of people know him. So we finally hoof our way up to the Lexington Market. Once we got through those new doors, it was a steady stream. And Donnie may not have known this, but he might have sensed that I got a little pissed. Excuse my language. I'm sorry, a little upset. Because here I am, I come all the way down from Govins, and I want to meet with Donnie. I want him to know that I'm just not interested in him as a resource for the Salvation Army. He's really become a good friend. But anyway, so we get in there, I'm looking to catch up with him, and I can't. Because all these people are kind of, hey, Donnie, your brother, all that stuff. Finally, I sat him down on those steps. You know those steps that go downstairs?
The kind you don't want to fall down.
Yeah, you don't want to fall down, but you got those, and you got the big television screen. I call it TV still.
That's enough to keep a hyper kid.
And I'm like, talk to me. Talk to me. So once we had our conversation, I had to turn him back over to the masses. I don't know if that's a funny story, but that's my most recent memory.
I thought you might share with them your first official tour of Sandtown. I thought that was a pretty interesting night. 10 o'clock at night.
Let me, Donnie, the reason I didn't bring that story up is because maybe to you there had some humor to it, but to me that was a somber night. That's when you say funny story.
It was funny, but at the same time, when they came through with the water machine gun, well, it was not only startling to you, it was startling to me too.
Well,
because they were lighting up some addicts standing on the corner.
Well, I did not make the mistake of assuming that it wasn't an automatic weapon. So I hit it.
Wasn't like you hit the dirt. I mean, the sound of a machine gun.
Well, Donnie, that's been a long time. But why assume? So anyway, that was my story. Donnie gave us a tour. He said, "You want to really see Sandtown?" And I was like, "Yeah, I really want to see Sandtown." He said, "Well, you got to come out on a summer night." And he took myself and Major Roger Glick, who's the head of the Salvation Army here in Charm City.
Well, he got an introduction, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He's originally from Kansas? No.
Iowa.
Texas.
Iowa. Lived in Kansas. He served in Birmingham, Alabama.
Now I'm gonna give you a bit of Black history. The first black citywide elected official in Baltimore came from Iowa. Judge Joe Howard.
I did not know this.
Imagine that.
Well, there's all kinds of history out there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it is.
But anyway, that was the night introduction to Sandtown, and it was eye-opening, but it wasn't, in that I am a Baltimore guy, and I've worked with young people in the city, and I've been down that road before.
Why do you help young people in the city, John?
No one gets out of here alive, right?
That's right. Where did you learn that?
Well, my dad used to say that. 7 men go in, 6 come out. But the truth of the matter is, people tell me that I'm pretty good working with young teenage men. And I feel it's a form of prayer.
Of any race. I've seen you work with people from all flavors. And I say that because Baltimore has separated us in a bad way too long.
And I still see a lot of that. Surprisingly, you would think all these years later, I still see it. But anyway, so I just used to work at a group home called A Place for Us down there on Calendar Street. And it's just, it makes me feel good about myself. To be selfish about it, to be really selfish, it makes me feel good about me to help someone, okay? My personal mission statement, there's 2 of them. It's very simple, because I'm a simple man. I'm here to help somebody be better. That's it. But I take from that, from Scripture, and I'm not a big quoter of the Scriptures, but there's one that I do know. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And that I do embrace that. It may not feel good, but a lot of young men today, a lot of young people today, they need someone to help them. We all do. Okay? All of us fall down, baby. And young people, if we can get them going in the right direction, you've heard all this. Well, anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Why do you come to the inner city to help people, John? People don't do that. People stay in their comfort zones.
Oh, I was raised Catholic. All the way, baby. Kindergarten up to 12th grade at St. Joe. The Catholic faith tradition does have a social aspect, ministry aspect to it. Forget all the other stuff you've heard on the news. I get it. But there's also, especially if you hang around the Jesuits, they have a very they have a big social awareness. Their theme is be a man for others. Be a man for others. That's a beautiful thing. And when I coach and when I do I push that out there. That's why we're here. But why come down? One time I was interviewed by Channel 45. You'll appreciate this. And they wanted to know what I thought about the new changes to the old Lexington market. Remember, they were going to bring like a French pastry place and all that stuff. And this reporter said, "What do you think about the Lexington market?" And I said, because I got in a little trouble for this, but I said, if Jesus was to come back today, he'd start here at the Lexington market.
And he'd bring an exterminator. A big exterminator with a big gun.
But anyway, that's why.
Man, nobody ever will forget. If you from Baltimore, you saw that damn rat on that TV.
Right across the pastry.
And didn't leave any, what do you call it? Hoof prints, paw prints, no prints.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Almost
shame.
like the owner said, as long as you don't leave no footprints, we don't care what you do. I was done.
My grandmother used to take me down there all the time, baby.
My mama used to.
Muskrat.
I went with my mama and my dad. Me and moms used to stop at Polite Johnny's. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, Donnie, what do you think of the new one? Come
It's
on.
gonna have to grow. Why do we love the old one? Because we went there dozens, if not hundreds of times. We have dozens, if not hundreds of memories. Clams on the half shell. Mary Merv's with the deli sandwiches. I mean, I got some of my first lean corned beef sandwiches there. And I'd probably go there compared to corned beef roll. I got over the corned beef roll. God doggone. Had to be every bit of $23 for a damn corned beef sandwich. Told them to keep
it. Now.
Well,
It's gone. Corned beef roll? No more.
But you still got a couple of eateries over there.
Few.
Yeah. So you remember the famous basketball game? What was that famous basketball game you told me about? That's one of my favorite John Davis stories.
Well, it was Mount St. Joe and Barry Scroggins versus Dunbar at Dunbar for the championship.
Hold on. You know what? Because I'm going to record this one for TikTok. I've never really gotten you on live. We're going to take your whole game to another level here today, bud. All right, there you go. Tell that story for me.
1971, Mount St. Joe, led by Barry Scroggins and Gary Jones, Vince Pompa, go down to play Dunbar at Dunbar. The coach was Sugar Cane, and we go down there for the championship. It was packed Friday afternoon, 3:30 game, packed to the rafters. Earl Monroe, the Pearl was there. And I forget, there was probably some other fans, big times. But Earl was the guy we all knew. And I'm sitting there with my two little brothers, Paul and JJ. It was a heck of a game. And of course, it has to go into overtime. Emotions going through the roof. Gary Jones is trying to pass the ball in from the sideline. People are throwing cigarette butts at him. Milt Walker for St. Joe, he was our big man. The bottom line, I think it was Pompa. Vince Pompa puts it up. Whoever, Scroggins, we win the game. At the buzzer. You could have taken a match and gone, the place went wild. Literally. I grabbed my little brothers. Let's go. And it was a mess. It really was a mess. There were fights. Teachers were getting assaulted. People were throwing chairs. I'm not exaggerating that. A buddy of mine, his windshield was smashed in. He made the mistake of driving his car. And back in those days, those basketball games, City was ruling the roost along with Dunbar. Okay. And St. Joe, they were the top three teams. And when you would go to a game, Donnie, whether it was at St. Joe, out at City, it was packed. And in those days, the student bodies would cheer, all that stuff. But anyway, that was unfortunately, that game, that St. Joe Dunbar game, as many of you guys and gals know, led to the separation. That was actually the beginning of the end of the old MSA, which was the greatest athletic league in the nation. And now you get this Catholic League thing, which is good. Don't get me wrong.
But that's why
back in the old days when you went to play Poly, you went over to Forest Park, Carver, Dunbar, City.
Carver's a tough game. I remember I was playing for Dunbar. We played Carver. Oh, my God.
They were brutal. Those games were bloodbaths.
Yeah, they were.
But they were fun.
Yeah. Why? How did sports become important to you?
My father dragged my two brothers and I out to play football. We should have learned to play golf because we were gym rats. Football, wrestling, track. The best thing that sports does for a young person is teach them. Here's an old expression, Donnie. You learn how to play the game of life. You don't hear that much anymore. But sports helped prepare me and my rat brothers to get out there because life's a contact sport. Not to use a cliche. It's a contact sport. So it helped prepare me mentally to deal with challenges and setbacks. Probably the setbacks more than anything.
Give me an example.
All right. I remember my junior year. We lost to Loyola High School. We blew a lead. It was football, November. Bottom line is, I tackled Johnny Bear in the end zone. Too late. We lose. I don't stop him. That was probably one of the hardest everybody's crying. And I especially cried because I was the guy who I felt left my teammates down. However, after wallowing, and I did for a week or so, I decided I'm going to get back up and I'm going to show everybody how to take it. I remember that as what I considered one of the first adult challenges that I had to. That disappointment helped prepare me for later in dealing with disappointments. And I've had my fair share of those, and I've had my fair share of victories. Okay. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, really, you said I'm gonna show them how to get back up, and you're not only showing yourself, you're showing your teammates, you're showing the fans, and you're showing the opponents. This is how we get back up.
I still wins when I think of that. But you know what?
Say that again.
I still wince. That little memory all these years later. You know how it is. My wife will say to me, "You can remember that Ed Audie missed a block with his inside shoulder back in 1969, but you can't remember to go up to the store and get a loaf of bread." All you athletes, former football, you all know what I'm talking about.
So John, now if you ask me to claim a neighborhood, I would say it's over by Carver, Baker and Betlow. That's where my mom bought a house back in 52. I was born in 65. So from 65 to 74, we lived in East Baltimore. Then we came back to her home in West Baltimore, my first time on the west side. But let me tell you a part of town that I am not from, and that's from up there at Harbell. What do you call Hamilton?
Yeah.
I've heard of those parts of town.
Hillendale, Loch Raven, Bel Air Road, Harford Road.
Yeah, all of that. That's not my neck of the woods. How was it growing up in that neighborhood?
White.
Okay.
Hillendale, we were the first people to move in there. All right. Then we moved across Taylor Avenue to Loch Raven Village. My Uncle Bobby came into some money and he spread it all around. God rest his soul. But that enabled my dad and my mom to make a down payment on a house in the village, Loch Raven Village. And I'm not trying to be cute, but it was white. When I went to St. Joe, I'd hump on that 3, take that down Loch Raven Boulevard, make a right on 33rd, go down to Greenmount. I'd huddle into the Boulevard Theater ticket office, little thing against the cold, and I'd catch the number 8.
That's Greenmount 33rd.
That was my other education.
You didn't have to fight on that corner, did you?
You had to keep your mouth shut.
Damn right.
And I was just smart enough to figure that out. But anyway, you take that number 8 all the way down. I forget, is it Conway, or you make all the way down Greenmount, man. Make a right at the end on Conway, make a left, or go down to Fayette Street, head all the way to West Baltimore, left on Gilmore, right on Old Frederick Avenue, and you're out there to St. Joe. That was the best education that I got.
Why?
Because I could have gone up the street. All my buddies were walking to Calvert Hall High School. Okay, but growing up, that area, it was beautiful. Baseball down at Loch Raven Elementary during the summer.
No, slow down. Why didn't you go to Calvert Hall?
I didn't go to Calvert Hall because all my friends were going there. And I never felt like I was part of that, for lack of a better term, Donnie, part of the in-group. It was kind of awkward. I was a good athlete, but I never felt comfortable running around with my friends at Immaculate Heart of Mary. My dad had gone to St. Joe. The truth is, I went to the open house out there, and I really liked it. I went up to Calvert Hall's open house where all my buds were going. It was a little cute. They wanted to kind of like be your buddy. And even at 13, you pick up on that, right? But anyway, the bottom line is, I thought I'd take the road less traveled. I hated it. I thought I made a big mistake. First, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. But anyway, so that's the deal. But the real
No. Tell me about it. You got up 5 in the morning. When did you know you made a good decision?
going into my senior year of high school. I don't know. I mean, by then I was good. My junior year was my worst year ever, and my senior year, my 12th grade year, was great. Successful in sports, had a lot of victories, blah, blah, blah. But I was more comfortable because I matured. Okay. I just didn't want to go up the street. I was the only guy in my crowd that knew how to get around Baltimore. I used
Well,
to
let me
take
tell you,
kids
bud.
on the bus.
If I would have went to my zone school, that meant I was going to Walbrook Senior High School, and all of my buds were going there. And I knew, I'm just going to be honest with you, John, that would have been a whole lot of 151 Bacardi rum, and probably a lot of those funny smelling cigarettes.
Hey, when we
But I
would
don't know how much work would have gotten done.
we had all those Rock Glen guys and gals. And that was another one of those. You're sitting on the bus. When my little brothers went, I could tell that, they already got the ties. And I told my little brother JJ, I said, just look down at your book. Don't make eye contact.
Damn, it make it sound real bad, but I guess those were survival tactics. Well, let me tell you this, John, you imagine me coming from Lamel, going to Poly, going through 42nd and Falls Road with my mouth?
Hey, Donnie, my father always said, keep your mouth shut. Because taking that 8, hell, Martin Luther King was murdered. The riots, I'm sitting in the back of that bus with the National Guard guys at North and Greenmount, which was apparently the eye of the storm.
Eye of the hurricane, baby.
Eye of the storm.
I remember. Now, look, I'm going to blow your mind. I do remember in 68, now I was 3, but I remember tanks going up North Avenue.
I never saw that, but the National Guard guys sat in the back, hold on, with their M6 between their legs. The seats in the back that face each other? Because that's where we used to hang. Amy, I'm on the phone with Donnie right now. I'll call you back, baby.
So, John,
that was Amy Middleton.
Please, why don't you, on that note, let's talk about some of the beautiful people at the Salvation Army that I get to work with. Let's start with Amy.
Stand by a minute there. I'm going to turn this off. I should have done that before. Amy Middleton is a former Baltimore City Popo police.
5-0 in the house.
Her and her husband is, you may have seen him in the news lately. He's been the Catholic minister to the crew of the ship that unfortunately hit the bridge. Amy is a development. She goes out and tries to raise money, but everybody in the Salvation Army wears a couple of hats. So Amy Middleton, excellent peeps, street smart, still has the police blood in her, but she does a lot of good things, a lot of things.
We love Amy. She's certified. She spent many hours, many nights in Sandtown as a patrol officer. She gets it. She does not like people who don't do their job, black, white, or otherwise. She don't care. She's about doing the daggone work. Do the work. Take care of the people. Salute.
What else do you need, Donnie?
Tell them about Eric.
Eric Mueck, M-U-E-C-K. You would say he's the guy who knows where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah, he does.
Ex-Navy man. Very proud of his service. He's been there for about 12 years. He hurts physically. He has a condition that he suffers from. He goes in the but he keeps on trucking. He's one of the main development directors. Money. However, you heard me say he knows we're all okay. He is also the right-hand man of the gentleman who runs the show, Major Roger Glick. But Eric, he does everything, and I have a problem with this sometimes. He does everything from taking turkeys out to families to getting in front of major donors to secure $1 million commitments.
Hey, look, you know what I love about him? He's the big man that has no problem being down low in the paint. There's nothing like a big man who won't get down in the hole. He gets down in the hole, turns around, and dunks the ball, okay? Don't dribble. Just turn around and poke it.
Well, Donnie, let me add this to that. The thing about the Salvation Army is they're not afraid to get down in the weeds.
No, at all.
Okay, starting with Roger, the head guy, and everybody underneath. Let me give you an example. You know, a couple years ago, when West Virginia was devastated by the flooding, we were supposed to have an advisory board meeting. It was canceled because all the Salvation Army officers went to West Virginia to help out with that situation. And that's not the first time that's happened. You got to understand, Salvation Army guys, when you see that uniform out there, they're not living high on the hog. Okay? You might like to know that just 87 cents out of every dinero goes to the point of attack. Okay? Let me finish this roll down. I don't mean to give you an example. Our head guy, Roger Glick, top guy, Major Glick. And by the way, in the Salvation Army, you hear about major, captain, and all that stuff. It's not a military organization. It's just that you have titles instead of vice president, executive director. Okay.
And they get to wear the pretty uniforms.
Well, the uniform is the brand. But here's the deal. If you were to look up salaries of CEOs of nonprofits, look at the salary for the Salvation Army head man, and then compare it to some of the other nonprofits. You're going to see a big gap, a huge gap. Now, Salvation Army officers do get housing. We're not talking about living down at Harbor East. Okay? Check it out. These Salvation Army officers, my learning, they're in the dirt. They're at the point of attack. They're not getting rich being in this organization. So I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there, but you need to know that. The Salvation Army, when 9/11 hit, you heard about, the jet flies into the side of the Pentagon, right? Up in New York, the Twin Towers. That was a terrible day. But in Washington, D.C., the on-site commander for the disaster recovery of that plane driving into the Pentagon was Major Gene Hogg of the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army is known for a lot of things. But man, they're aces when it comes to disasters. Okay? And you can look that up. Major Gene Hogg, that's who everybody reported. He coordinated the relief efforts that sad day in D.C. But a lot of people don't know that because they're not really good at marketing themselves. Okay? You know why? Because the money, we try to keep the money in. I didn't mean to. So there you go.
Wow. How long have you been apart?
I think about almost 19 years.
How'd you become involved?
There was a lawyer friend of mine, and I just can't remember his first. Ed Gutman, G-U-T. He was a lawyer, and I was playing squash. I'm a blue-collar guy playing an Ivy League sport. And I was working at IBM, and he just said to me, "Hey, are you on any boards?" And I'm like, "No." I was a bachelor running around. And he introduced me to the Salvation Army and a guy by the name of Luchasaurus. And the rest, I got on the board and just never got off.
What's your favorite part of it?
Feeling good about myself. Helping people. Okay? Say it down.
One of the most important, I guess you could say, ministries is one dealing with women in the midst of trafficking. Tell us about that.
Thanks for bringing that up, Donnie. I appreciate it.
Well, it's, we figure a lot of times that,
well, here you go.
It's easy to feed somebody. It's easy to give somebody clothes. But what about the sticky stuff? What about the heavy stuff? What about trafficking and prostitution and the things?
I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it right between the eyes. But first, let me say this. One of the philosophies of the Salvation Army, you can't preach, you can't teach scripture to a person on an empty stomach. That's where their social services part comes in. Okay? You can't preach, you can't sow the seeds of the scripture to a person who's starving or hungry or homeless. Now, one of the ministries of the Salvation Army, and we don't like to advertise it for reasons you're going to understand, is the sex trafficking business. And the Salvation Army it's called Catherine's Cottage. I'm not going to tell you where it is. It's in a really nice, it's a regular home. And that is where, when the police are down there by the shoe, and they see a woman that they suspect is being trafficked, and they rescue her, they take her. First, she gets evaluated, medical and all that stuff. Then they take her to Catherine's Cottage. Okay, where the staff, and it's emotional work. I'm going to tell you this right now. It's tough. It's brutal. The staff tries to stabilize you and point you in some other directions to get your life back. Okay, a lot of people don't realize how big sex trafficking is. The Super Bowl, Donnie.
I told you the largest trafficking opportunity in the world is the Super Bowl.
And the area down by the two stadiums and the horseshoe.
Yeah.
I believe that's referred to as the Death Triangle.
Damn right.
Okay.
People think they're going down there to see a game, and it's a different kind of game going on. It's a game of life and survival that not everybody makes it out.
So the Salvation Army has a big effort on the sex trafficking. We don't like to advertise it so much, for obvious reasons. Okay.
I was walking down Broadway one day, and I see a truck, and we had just had a board meeting for Salvation Army. And there's a black guy and a white guy right there at this truck on Broadway, right down the bottom near the market, cross street. What's the market?
Where, Broadway?
Yeah, Broadway Market. So look, the guy says, "You want something to eat?" And I said, I stopped and looked. I was like, that's the Salvation Army logo. And I said, no, well, let me get a picture. And I got the picture, and I came back and showed you guys that it is more than just about talk. It's about doing.
Well,
yeah.
Should I say something about the Pin to Use project, Donnie?
Well, come on down. Doors open.
All right. I'm looking at the clock. I don't want to kill your time slot.
Well, Donnie initially what's going to happen. And you know what? That's an interesting corner. Fremont and Lawrence, you're in the thick of it. You're right there at the dope triangle. A lot of heroin sold in that area. At the same time, it's surrounded by homeowners. They're not buying heroin, they're homeowners. So you got this lump of energy, some good, some bad, and now Salvation Army is going to be taking over the Pin to Use building.
Donnie, I got to tell you, I've been down there a bunch of times now to see you and the tour. And that's the thing that it amazes me. You see these pockets of homeowners, nice neighborhoods, and then you walk like maybe 100 yards away and you're in the goo. You got to have your head on a swivel. It's amazing to me. But
that's America for you. Down in Annapolis, you got projects right here, and then you got mansions right here, side by side. I'll be damned if I want a mansion next to a project. I'm just going to tell you.
My daughter lives up in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, and that's right next to Patterson, New Jersey. That's a tough area, but I'm going to tell you something. You drive around there. I go to when I'm up there. I go to mass on Sundays in Patterson. It's the same thing. You've got these rough stretches, and then you've got these beautiful homes. The thing about the Pin to Use project, and I'm thinking like I'm talking to ladies and gentlemen. The thing, and Donnie, I appreciate you giving me a shot to get this message out. The thing you want to know about the Pin to Use is this. Salvation Army, right? First comes to Baltimore in 1880. All right, so we've been around. Their motto is doing the most good. You see that on the side of the trucks. Well, we've been headquartered for a gazillion years, like down in Federal Hill. It's nice down there. But we're going to move our headquarters to the tip of the spear, Sandtown, because that's where that's where Major Glick and the officers of the Salvation Army feel they can do the most good. Hell, anybody can get up in Roland Park. Anybody get up in Guilford. You want to make a difference? You really want to make an impact? You want to help people? You go to church every day, 52 times a year? Go to Sandtown, because you can help there and people will appreciate it. So we're hoping to move our headquarters, and right now we're in the middle of negotiating with the property and legal department of the city of Baltimore, the Pin to Use Elementary School. And you all know it's been abandoned for the last 10 years, and most recently, unfortunately, was a homeless shelter. I don't understand that, but that's just the way it went down. Okay?
We didn't ask for it, let me tell you, bud. Hey,
I've heard that.
We got a question from an advocate who's now in Florida, and there it is on the screen.
Is your approach a program or structural energy? And will it focus on earned income approach instead of grants? Both. That's not a cop-out. Okay, it really is. When you talk about pragmatic, systemic, structural, it's going to be both. We're getting, I forget the name of the tax credits to help us with this. And we've got Johnny Pica, shout out to the Pica Meister, who's helping us down in Annapolis secure money for this project. So whoever asked that question, it really is a combination of all the above. Okay? That's it. I didn't know you could take questions. Hell, I'm good to go.
Michael's got more questions. I tell you, he's got a ton of questions. He has done a lot of work here in Sandtown. He's taken what he's learned here and he's now working down in Florida. I guess we've touched on a great variety of topics. Anything you want to talk about, John?
Well, Donnie, that's I would like to talk.
Oh, you got a golf thing coming up.
Well, here's the deal with Sandtown. To be exceptionally candid, the thinking goes like this. A rising tide raises all ships. Maybe not everybody has heard that before, but that's what we say down at the Salvation Army. A rising tide raises all ships. We've talked to a lot of people, okay? We've got an architectural firm headed up by Walter Shamu that's done all the blueprints. We've got the construction company lined up, John Deal. We're just in a part now where we got to get our capital campaign we want to raise around 32 mil. 22 of that is for the actual build out. And John Deal, the construct is Southway Builders. Okay, some of you, okay. The other 10 of that 32 is the endowment. When we get this bad boy built, it is not only going to be the administrative headquarters. You need to know that we will be bringing with us another Boys and Girls Club. We're going to be bringing 2 AAU basketball courts. And when I first heard that, I'm like, yeah, we need another basketball court. Yes, to attract big-time tournaments. We have partnered with the Peabody Conservatory in Johns Hopkins to establish a music and arts program. You get the feel for this? Okay, it's not just going to be a gym and office. No, we're going to have a senior cafe in there for people to go and break a little bread, suck some coffee down, and feel safe about it. Okay, Lou Casaurus.
I think that's a beautiful thing.
It is a very beautiful. Lou Casaurus, you've met Lou, formerly with the Orioles. He has introduced us to a potential partnership with the local carpenters union. So all of this is twirling around, but and we got the building. We're negotiating how much. That's where we got the building. And then we got to raise the cabbage. We got to get the money. And we're feeling pretty confident about that. Doni mentioned the golf event. Yeah, we do this little golf event coming up in a couple of weeks. That's not the real generator for the cabbage, for the money. Back in this October, we're having a major league, for the first time ever, we're having a major league fundraising gala. It's a dinner dance. And right now it's headed up by Mark Core and his lovely wife, Holly. They're the champions of it. Mark, he heads up the Green Sprint. God almighty. He works with Mike Gill. All right. And he's working hard to try to make this event in October the 5th a success. What's significant about that event is this. That's going to be the official launch of the capital campaign. Right now, we're doing a feasibility study that's going to be completed by the end of the summer. Hey, John, when might the doors open? Maybe 18 months. Okay? Between raising the cabbage, getting it built. Last night I talked to Major Glick, Doni. I asked him. They're going to say that. When? So that's what we're thinking right now. But as somebody used to say, it's a beautiful thing. And
John, if people want to get in touch with you, how should they reach out?
Excellent. All right, here it is. I'm going to put the number out. If you would like to talk to me about this project, you can reach me on my cell phone. And if you have your pen out, here it is. John Davis, 410-615-6718. Okay? Let me close with this comment. If anybody's listening to this and you think you're interested in maybe helping with this, I say this to you. If you've ever had dreams of really making a difference, if you've ever had dreams of really being a leader, of making a difference, this is the time and this is the place. Okay? This project. This is going to make a difference. The word transformational is thrown around a lot out there. This is transformational. We're going to help good people in a good neighborhood get better. That's it. Good people in a good neighborhood get better. And when that happens, we all benefit.
John, thank you for joining us today. Up to date, down tomorrow, do your day, and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it, regardless of how I feel. I am somebody. I am my brother's keeper. Good morning, world.